know that moment when someone says something that cuts straight through you, and before you can even think, your mouth opens and words come pouring out that you instantly regret? Last Tuesday, that was me, standing in my kitchen, watching my partner's face crumble as my words landed like punches I couldn't take back. Or maybe for you, it's that coworker who always gets under your skin, the one who makes that comment in meetings that sends electricity shooting through your veins. Your face gets hot, your hands shake, and suddenly you're that angry person again, the one you promised yourself you'd never become. Here's what nobody tells you about emotions. They're not the enemy. The enemy is what happens in the 0.3 seconds between feeling and reacting. In that split second, you either become the sculptor of your life or its victim. Most people live their entire existence in that 0.3 seconds, bouncing from reaction to reaction like a pinball in someone else's machine. But what if you could stretch that moment? What if you could live in the space between trigger and response, where true power exists? 2,000 years ago, a slave named Epictetus discovered something that would change everything. Chained, beaten, with no control over his body or circumstances, he found the one thing his captors could never touch: his mind. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wasn't philosophy class. This was survival wisdom forged in the fires of real suffering. Right now, as you're watching this, your nervous system is carrying the weight of every unfinished argument, every moment you wished you'd stayed quiet, every time you let someone else's energy hijack your peace. I can see it in the comments already. People sharing their stories of explosive moments they wish they could rewind. But here's what's about to change everything. You are not your reactions. You are the conscious space in which reactions occur. And that space, that's where your freedom lives. Today, we're diving into 5 ancient principles that will rewire how you handle every challenging moment for the rest of your life. These aren't feel-good theories. They're battle-tested strategies used by everyone from Roman emperors to modern Navy SEALs to maintain their center when everything around them is chaos. By the time we're done, you'll understand why the strongest people aren't those who never get angry. They're the ones who feel the anger fully and choose their response consciously. If you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your own emotional reactions, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment sharing one moment you wish you could handle differently, and subscribe, because what we're covering today will change how you show up in the world. Don't skip any part. Each piece builds on the last. Now let's get into it. Number 1. The eye of the hurricane, finding stillness in chaos. Inside, every hurricane is a place of perfect calm. While 200-mile-per-hour winds destroy everything in their path, the eye remains untouchable, still, clear, and safe. Your emotional storms work exactly the same way, but most people never learn how to find their eye. Let me take you into a moment that taught me everything. 3 years ago, I got a call that my father had been in a car accident. The words hit me like lightning. "It doesn't look good." In that instant, my world exploded. My hands started shaking, my breathing became shallow, and my mind began spinning stories of loss and regret. But then, something extraordinary happened. Beneath all that chaos, I found a voice, quiet, steady, unshaken. It wasn't telling me everything would be okay. It was simply saying, "Right now, in this moment, you are okay." That voice was my eye of the hurricane. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while plague ravaged his people and enemies threatened his borders, discovered this truth in his darkest hours. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Even as he watched his children die and his world crumble, he found that unshakable center within himself, proving that no external storm could touch the calm at his core. Your eye of the hurricane isn't a place you go. It's who you are underneath all the noise. It's the part of you that remains unchanged whether you're getting promoted or fired, praised or criticized, loved or rejected. Most people spend their whole lives being tossed around by external weather, never realizing they carry their own shelter within them. Here's how you find your eye. The next time someone triggers you, when your teenager rolls their eyes, when your boss dismisses your idea, when that driver cuts you off, instead of immediately reacting, place your hand on your chest and ask, what part of me is watching this happen? That witness, that observer, that's your eye. It doesn't judge the storm as good or bad. It simply watches with compassion and clarity. From that place, you can choose your response instead of being chosen by your reaction. The hurricane will come, the triggers will happen, but you don't have to be swept away. You can be the calm center that remains unshaken while skillfully navigating whatever arises. Number 2, the garden of focus, where your water grows. Your attention is like water in a garden. Whatever you pour it on grows stronger, more vibrant, more alive. Most people spend their days watering weeds, feeding their fears, nurturing their resentments, cultivating their anxieties, then wonder why their inner landscape looks like a wasteland. But what if you could become a master gardener of your own mind? I learned this lesson from my neighbor Maria, an 82-year-old woman who'd survived poverty, divorce, and the loss of 2 children. Everyone expected her to be bitter, broken by life's cruelties. Instead, she was the most joyful person I'd ever met. Her secret wasn't that bad things didn't happen to her. It was where she chose to focus her attention. Every morning, she told me, I water my gratitude plants, not my grievance weeds. She would literally walk through her garden, touching each flower while naming something she appreciated. Not because she was naive about life's difficulties, but because she understood a profound truth. What you focus on expands. Epictetus knew this intimately. He was born a slave. His leg was broken by his master and never healed properly, yet he became the teacher of emperors. While others in his position watered seeds of hatred and revenge, he chose to cultivate a different garden entirely. He said, "Wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants." He discovered that when you stop feeding your desires for what you lack and start nourishing appreciation for what you have, your inner world transforms from scarcity to abundance. Here's what changed everything for me. I started treating my thoughts like guests at a party. Some guests, like gratitude, curiosity, and compassion, I invite to sit at the main table and offer them the best food. Other guests, like blame, worry, and resentment, I acknowledge politely, but don't offer them a seat. I don't fight them or try to kick them out. That just creates more drama. But I don't feed them my precious attention either. Right now, think about what you've been watering in your mental garden. Are you feeding your strengths or your insecurities? Are you cultivating peace or chaos? Are you growing solutions or problems? The beautiful truth is this: you get to choose. Every moment, every breath, every thought is an opportunity to tend your inner garden with intention. You can't control what seeds get blown into your mind, but you absolutely control which ones you water. Your attention is your most precious resource. Spend it wisely. Number 3. The Alchemy of Acceptance. Turning lead into gold. The medieval alchemists spent lifetimes trying to turn lead into gold. They never succeeded because they were looking in the wrong place. The real alchemy, the transformation that actually works, happens when you turn resistance into acceptance and acceptance into power. Most people live in a constant war with reality. They spend enormous energy fighting what has already happened, wishing their past was different, demanding their present be other than it is. This is like trying to argue with gravity, exhausting and utterly pointless. I watched my friend David learn this the hardest way possible. His 16-year-old son was killed by a drunk driver. For 2 years, David lived in rage, at the driver, at God, at the unfairness of it all. His anger was justified, understandable, completely human. It was also destroying him from the inside. Then, one day, something shifted. David didn't forgive the drunk driver. He didn't say it was okay. He didn't pretend it was part of some grand plan. Instead, he simply stopped fighting the reality that his son was gone. In that moment of radical acceptance, he found something unexpected: the energy to honor his son's memory instead of being consumed by the circumstances of his death. Epictetus, who knew suffering intimately, taught, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." He understood that acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's the foundation for meaningful action. Here's the alchemy. When you stop wasting energy resisting what you cannot change, you suddenly have all that energy available for what you can change. When you accept your difficult boss, you can focus on developing your skills. When you accept your partner's flaws, you can appreciate their strengths. When you accept your own mistakes, you can learn from them instead of drowning in shame. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat or giving up on growth. It means dealing with reality as it is, not as you wish it were. From that solid ground, real change becomes possible. Right now, what are you fighting that you need to accept? What reality are you arguing with that's stealing your peace? What would become available to you if you stopped pushing against the immovable and started working with what's actually here? Number 4. The witness chair, your seat of sovereignty. There's a chair inside your mind that never gets occupied. It sits above the chaos of your emotions, beyond the drama of your thoughts, untouched by the storms of your circumstances. The Stoics called this your seat of sovereignty, the place from which you can observe your entire inner world without getting swept away by it. Most people live their entire lives as actors on the stage of their own drama, never realizing they could step back and become the director instead. I discovered this chair during the worst panic attack of my life. I was 35, sitting in my car outside a grocery store, convinced I was having a heart attack. My thoughts were spinning out of control. Something's wrong with me. I'm going crazy. People are staring. But then, in the midst of that mental tornado, I heard a voice. Calm, curious, completely unafraid. It said, "Interesting. Look how the mind creates stories. Notice how the body responds to fear. Watch how panic moves through you like weather." That voice wasn't experiencing the panic. It was witnessing it. And in that witnessing, I found something revolutionary. I was not my thoughts. I was not my emotions. I was the awareness in which thoughts and emotions appeared and disappeared. Seneca understood this when he wrote, "The mind that is anxious about future misfortunes is miserable. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." He knew that the witness mind lives in the eternal now, beyond the reach of past regrets and future fears. Your witness chair is always available, but most people never sit in it because they're too busy being their emotions instead of observing them. When you're angry, you become anger. When you're sad, you become sadness. But from the witness chair you can say, I notice anger arising. I see sadness moving through me. I watch fear trying to grab my attention. This isn't detachment. It's engagement from a place of strength. When you can observe your inner world without being consumed by it, you respond from wisdom instead of reacting from wounds. You become the calm center that can hold space for any emotion without losing yourself in it. Right now, take a seat in your witness chair. What do you notice about your inner landscape? What patterns can you observe with curious, non-judgmental awareness? Number 5. The Daily Forge, where character is hammered into steel. Character isn't built in moments of crisis. It's forged in the quiet moments when no one is watching. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. Every evening you reflect instead of distract. Every moment you pause instead of react. You're hammering your soul into something stronger. The Stoics understood that emotional resilience is like physical strength. It atrophies without regular training and grows stronger with consistent practice. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, still woke up each morning and wrote in his journal, not about conquering nations, but about conquering himself. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being." Even the most powerful man in the world needed daily practice to stay centered. Here's what I learned from studying people who maintain their peace under pressure. They all have invisible routines that prepare them for life's challenges. A Navy SEAL commander told me, "We don't train for when everything goes right. We train for when everything goes wrong." Your daily forge has 4 chambers. Morning intention, where you prepare your mind for the day ahead. Moment awareness, where you practice the pause throughout the day. Evening reflection, where you review your responses without judgment. And weekly preparation, where you mentally rehearse challenges and visualize yourself handling them with grace. But here's the practice that changed everything for me. Every night before sleep, I ask myself 3 questions. Where did I react instead of respond today? What triggered my strongest emotion? And how did that serve my growth? Not to beat myself up, but to mine gold from every experience. I also practice what Stoics called premeditatio malorum, imagining loss to cultivate gratitude. Once a week, I imagine losing something I take for granted. Not to invite disaster, but to appreciate what's here while it's here. After imagining losing my ability to walk, every step becomes a gift. After imagining losing my sight, every sunset becomes a masterpiece. Your daily forge doesn't make you hard. It makes you flexible, like steel that can bend without breaking. When challenges come, you're ready not because nothing affects you, but because you've trained yourself to respond with intention instead of reacting from instinct. The power to not react isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent. It's feeling everything fully while choosing your response consciously. You now have 5 ancient keys: finding your eye in every hurricane, watering only what serves you, accepting reality as your starting point, sitting in your witness chair, and forging your character daily. Your emotions will still come. That's what makes you beautifully human. But now you know the secret. You don't have to be swept away by them. If this resonates, smash that like button, share with someone who needs this wisdom, comment which practice speaks to your soul, and subscribe for more life-changing content. Your conscious life begins now.